Have you ever felt that, in a single moment, everything around you shifted slightly, as if the world had changed without you noticing? What if these shifts were more than mere coincidences or perception errors, but ongoing transitions between different realities happening without your awareness? Parallel realities are not just a concept reserved for science fiction. They are part of a vast field of research in quantum physics that explores the possibility that infinite versions of reality exist simultaneously. But how does this affect your life? Perhaps in a much more direct way than most people imagine. Every decision, every thought, and every emotion can cause a subtle shift, a path leading you to a new version of yourself and the world around you. Often these transitions are subtle, almost imperceptible, but sometimes they are so profound that they challenge your entire understanding of what is real. Understanding the nature of parallel realities means recognizing that the present is not fixed but fluid and malleable. The version of you that exists now may not be the same as the one that existed a minute ago. Within this constant movement lies the power of transformation. A shift in your perception can completely change the direction of your life and align you with a higher version of yourself. But how do these realities manifest in your daily life? And more importantly, how can you tell if you have already shifted into a new reality? Today you will discover the signs that you have entered a parallel reality. You may already have crossed into another version of reality without realizing it. The deeper you dive into this subject, the more you will understand that the essence of your life is shaped by these invisible changes that continuously push you toward your true potential. If everything around you can change so subtly that you barely notice, what is really happening to your reality? The idea of parallel realities may seem complex, but at its core, it suggests that life is not linear. Instead, we are constantly navigating through different versions of reality shaped by our choices, thoughts, and emotions. Imagine your life as a vast ocean full of possibilities, where each wave represents a new version of your reality. With every decision you make, these waves reorganize, creating a new path. This path may look almost identical to the previous one, or completely different. What defines this transition is the state of your consciousness, and often you only realize the change after it has already happened. Quantum physics offers a powerful analogy to understand how these transitions occur. Essentially, it teaches us that the universe is made of probabilities. Every event, every choice, generates a range of probabilities that can manifest as the version of reality you currently experience. Simply put, what you perceive as your present moment is just one version among infinitely many possible realities. When you wake up one morning and decide to change a habit, you may be laying the foundation for a transition between realities. However, this transition doesn't happen abruptly, it is subtle, like the shift from one scene to another in a film. Here the concept of continuity comes into play. Just as a film reel is made up of individual frames that, when projected at high speed, create the illusion of continuous motion, your life too seems to be a linear sequence of events. Yet in truth, you move through different frames of reality every second. What maintains this illusion of continuity is your mind, connecting these fragmented moments and interpreting them as a coherent story. These constant transitions are natural, and you often experience them without realizing it. For example, when you notice a small change in your surroundings, something not in its usual place, or an object slightly moved, you might actually have entered a new reality. These seemingly insignificant changes could be subtle signs that you are moving between parallel realities. And though these transitions appear small, their influence on your life can be profound. Understanding this concept is key to realizing how much you truly shape your own experience. You are not merely a passive observer of reality. On the contrary, you are an active creator constantly influencing the many realities unfolding around you. Every decision you make, no matter how small, has the power to move you into a new reality. But this understanding raises a fundamental question: if we are constantly shifting between realities, how can we use this power for personal growth? How can we align ourselves with the version of us that we truly wish to become? On this path of self-discovery, learning to recognize these moments of transition can be the first step in consciously changing your reality. When you start paying attention to the small details in your life, you may begin to notice that, from time to time, something feels out of place. Maybe you're absolutely certain where you left your keys, yet suddenly you find them somewhere else. Or perhaps you feel a strange sense that something in your environment has changed, even though everything looks the same. These small adjustments in reality may be among the subtlest signs that you are moving between different versions of the world around you. Though they may seem insignificant, they hold deeper meaning. When a parallel reality is involved, what appears as a minor inconsistency, something misplaced, a sense of discontinuity, can be a direct reflection of a shift into another plane of reality. In that moment, you are no longer exactly where you once were. Imagine your life as a series of paths, each leading to different destinations. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, shapes these paths. Some deviations are so small they go unnoticed, like making a tiny change in direction without realizing it. Yet even these micro-adjustments can set you on a completely new course. These movements can be as simple as the sensation of déjà vu, the feeling that you've lived this moment before, but with a slight difference. It's as though you're reliving a slightly altered version of the present. Sometimes the changes are so subtle that you only notice them over time, as you begin to detect a series of small differences in your daily life. Beyond misplaced objects, there are moments when you feel a shift in your own energy. Maybe one day you wake up with a sudden sense of clarity, a renewed purpose, as though something inside you has just aligned. These are signs that something within you has changed and your outer reality is beginning to reflect that shift. Recognizing these transitions is the first step to understanding how much you actually influence your reality. It's not just about noticing a key in a different place, it's about realizing that these small adjustments can signal a much larger transformation taking place. These subtle movements are happening all the time, and the more aware you become of them, the more you can use this awareness to consciously shape your future. By aligning yourself with these shifts and recognizing them as transitions, you can start making more intentional choices. Instead of merely reacting to the world around you, you become a co-creator of your own reality. This mindfulness strengthens your connection to the version of yourself you aspire to be. Making the process of personal growth tangible and present requires more than simple attention, it demands presence and awareness in the moment. Often, we are so absorbed in our daily routines that we overlook the subtle shifts happening around us. When you begin asking yourself questions like, "What's different?" or "Why does this feel out of place?" you open a new doorway of perception. That doorway leads to a deeper understanding of how your reality is constantly adapting, shaped by your choices and intentions. The more attuned you become to these signs, the more you align with the parallel version of yourself. Every small adjustment in reality becomes an opportunity for reflection. So when you notice something different, try asking yourself, how does this change reflect who I am becoming? In this state of awareness, the true power of transformation begins to awaken. Sometimes you may recall an event from the past with absolute clarity, only to realize later that it didn't happen exactly as you remember it. This phenomenon, where memories seem to change or adjust in unexpected ways, can be a sign that you've crossed between parallel realities. When we shift into a new reality, our memories subtly adapt, creating a new version of the past that feels familiar but isn't quite the same as before. Our memory is not an exact record of events. In fact, it is highly flexible. The brain, with its remarkable adaptability, reconstructs memories every time we access them. This means that each time you recall something, you may unconsciously alter small details of that memory. What once seemed clear and unchangeable can suddenly appear blurred or even different. This is what neuroscience refers to as neural plasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and change by reorganizing its neural connections in response to new experiences and information. But this reconstructive ability is not just a feature of the human mind, it is also a way of adapting to the new reality we find ourselves in. When we consider the concept of parallel realities, this idea takes on a new dimension. If each shift into a new reality subtly changes the line of our life, it only makes sense that our memories would also adjust. The event that once seemed clear might hold slightly different details in a new reality. What's even more fascinating is that these changes don't happen abruptly. They occur so gently that you might not notice anything at first, until you encounter a different version of the same memory. This phenomenon is often linked to the idea of false memories, where you're certain something happened in a particular way, but upon checking, the details differ. A well-known example of this is the so-called Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember an event or fact differently from how it is officially documented. These conflicting memories often cause discomfort because they challenge our sense of continuity and stability. However, this phenomenon is not just a psychological curiosity, it reveals the flexibility of our perception. Neural plasticity shows us that our mind constantly restructures and reorganizes memories based on our current understanding of reality. This doesn't mean our memories are false or invalid, it means they are dynamic interpretations, shaped by our experiences and the context we live in. These small adjustments may be signs that you are accessing a memory from a new reality, one in which aspects of the past have been reinterpreted or reorganized to align with your current version of yourself. The more you pay attention to these moments, the more apparent it becomes how fluid your perception of the past truly is. And this transformation doesn't just happen around you, it happens within you, reshaping how you connect to your own memories. The big question here is, to what extent is the past you remember truly fixed? If each new version of reality brings new ways to interpret what has already happened, then what really is the past? When we understand how flexible our memories are, we realize that we are not prisoners of what we believe we have experienced. Just as the present is flexible, the past can also be viewed from a new perspective. This understanding gives us power. Once we grasp it, we can begin to loosen the chains the past has placed on us. Stories of pain, regret, or frustration can be recontextualized. You can free yourself from old narratives that hold you back, knowing that the past you remember may only be one version among many. And just as reality adjusts, you can choose which version of the past you want to carry forward into your future. Moreover, science shows us that when we access memories, specific neural networks in the brain are activated. As our consciousness expands and evolves, these networks are modified. Every time we recall a memory, it is edited based on our current state of being. Thus, our perception of the past becomes a reflection of who we are now, not merely who we were when the event took place. This realization, that the past itself can change when your reality shifts, is truly liberating. It allows you to see your personal story as something fluid, not as something that defines who you are, but as a collection of experiences that can be reinterpreted. As you continue to evolve and grow, your memories follow that process, adapting to your new reality. At certain moments, reality seems to break, as if something no longer fits within the expected sequence of events. These moments of discontinuity, when the normal flow of things suddenly shifts without logical explanation, can be clear signs that you have entered a parallel reality. Moments when something drastic was narrowly avoided, leaving you perplexed, as though time skipped or rewrote itself, can also be indicators of a reality shift. And perhaps, on a deeper level, that is exactly what has happened. These breaks in continuity are not mere coincidences or perception errors. They may be signs that, on a quantum level, you have transitioned into a new version of reality, one in which, for example, a disaster was avoided. This suggests that your consciousness, when faced with a potentially life-altering event, quickly shifted into a version of reality where the outcome was different from what first seemed inevitable. Such transitions can occur so suddenly that the mind struggles to justify what happened. You might find yourself asking, "How did I get out of that situation so quickly?" or "Why does this feel so surreal?" When we face these kinds of experiences, our logical mind tries to find an explanation, but often, no rational answer fully satisfies our doubts. That lingering sense that something is off may be a sign that you abruptly jumped between realities, into one where the tragic or dramatic outcome never occurred. These discontinuities are especially common during moments of intense risk, near accidents or emotional crises, when the sheer intensity of the experience seems to distort time itself. There are reports from people who, during near-death experiences, felt time slow down or stop, only for everything to return to normal as if nothing dangerous had happened. These episodes could be reflections of quantum-level transitions into another plane of reality. This concept is deeply connected to the idea that in every parallel reality, different outcomes are possible. In one version, the accident may have occurred; in another, you walked away unharmed. In moments of extreme emotional or physical intensity, your consciousness becomes highly receptive, which can facilitate these shifts between realities. What seems like an inexplicable event might actually be the reflection of a transition into a version of your life where the outcome was more favorable. These breaks in continuity can also serve as powerful reminders that reality is not as solid as it appears. The rigidity we often attribute to everyday experience may be nothing more than an illusion. When such events occur, they challenge us to rethink our beliefs about what is real and how reality itself can be shaped. And this opens a new dimension of possibility. If you can shift into a reality where tragedy was avoided, what else might you be able to change or influence in your own life? Remember, these unexplained moments of discontinuity can be seen as opportunities for awakening. They urge us to pause and reconsider the world around us and the role we play in shaping our experience. Instead of fearing or dismissing these events, we can learn to view them as portals to new possibilities, to new paths of existence that are always available to us. Now that you've recognized the subtle signs of transitioning between realities, small adjustments in daily life, changes in how you perceive the past, and breaks in continuity, a vital question arises: what can you do with this knowledge? When these signs are consciously acknowledged, they empower you to take control of your experience. Knowing that reality is fluid, that time and events are not fixed, allows you to see life as a field of infinite possibilities. This perception transforms the way you interact with the world because you are no longer a passive spectator, you become the active creator of your destiny. To shape the reality you want to live in, it's essential to be in harmony with the present moment. The now is the only tangible reality, the point of power from which all future possibilities are formed. When you connect deeply with the present, you align yourself with your ability to transform what is yet to come. By paying attention to what is happening now, your emotions, thoughts, and actions, you begin to direct the energy of your consciousness toward the reality you wish to manifest. One of the most effective ways to take control of your reality is through visualization. When you imagine the ideal version of yourself, you begin to create a mental map that guides your actions and behaviors. Visualization is not merely positive thinking, it is a powerful tool of creation. As you visualize, your brain starts forming new neural pathways that reflect this self-image, making your desired reality more accessible and real. The key is to visualize in a detailed and emotionally engaging way, feeling as though you are already living that desired reality. Alongside visualization, it's crucial to develop consistent daily habits that reflect this new version of yourself. Small, intentional actions accumulate powerful effects over time. For example, if you wish to align with a reality in which you are healthier, start with small, consistent changes, like improving your diet or maintaining a regular exercise routine. These simple habits begin to reshape your perception and ultimately your reality. With time, these actions become a natural part of who you are, and the new reality you're reaching for starts to take form. Another key aspect of consciously choosing your reality is awareness of your emotional state. Emotions are powerful indicators that show whether you are aligned or misaligned with the reality you desire. When you are emotionally aligned with your desired reality, you'll notice that the path toward it unfolds more smoothly. The idea that we are constantly in transition, moving between different realities, can be seen as a natural part of personal evolution. Life, at its core, is a continuous cycle of transformation. The version of you that existed a year ago no longer exists, and the version that will exist in the future is being shaped by the choices you make today. Every transition, no matter how small, is a step into a new reality. And the more aware you become of these shifts, the more you can guide them in alignment with your goals and desires. Understanding that these transitions are natural brings a sense of peace. Instead of resisting change or feeling lost in moments of discontinuity, you can learn to embrace them as part of your evolution. Life is not a straight, stable line, it is a constant flow. Every shift is an opportunity to realign yourself with the reality that best reflects your true self. The power to choose your reality does not lie in trying to control every detail, but in realizing that you are constantly shaping the world around you through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This understanding is liberating, because when you realize that reality does not happen to you, but responds to you, you free yourself from the feeling of powerlessness. So remember, the power lies in your hands. Every day, with every choice, you can align yourself more deeply with the ideal version of who you are. And as you do, you will begin to see the world around you adjust to reflect that new reality. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated with you, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Share it with others so they too can benefit from this insight, and don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thank you again for watching and being here. Take care, and see you soon.